Are your cucumbers sprawling across the garden bed like green gorillas, claiming every inch of available space? And are the fruits lying on the ground getting dirty and becoming easy prey for slugs? Sound familiar? But what if I told you that proper trellising isn't just for neatness, but the key to a harvest that will make your neighbours green with envy? Today, we're going to break down 4 essential ways to trellis your cucumbers. We'll figure out which one is perfect for you, your garden beds, and your ambitions. And I promise, the 4th method will make you look at cucumber care in a completely new light. So, let's start from the very beginning. Why bother with all these strings and supports anyway? Can't a cucumber just figure it out on its own? It can, but you won't like the result. First off, it's about plant hygiene and health. When vines and fruits lie on the ground, they're in constant contact with moisture. This is a direct path to rot and fungal diseases like powdery mildew. Trellised cucumbers get excellent air circulation, drastically reducing the risk of disease. Secondly, it's about sunlight. In dense growth, leaves shade each other out, and the plant receives less energy for photosynthesis. That means fewer fruits. And thirdly, it's simply about convenience for you, the gardener. Harvesting from a vertical garden bed is a pure joy. All the cucumbers are right there in plain sight, clean and perfectly formed. No need to crawl on your knees sifting through prickly tangles in search of a hidden monster cucumber. All right, let's dive into method number 1. We'll call it the classic. This involves vertical trellising, either on a trellis or a net. You've probably seen this technique 100 times, and it's popular for a reason. It's incredibly intuitive and effective. What does it entail? It's really quite simple. You set up supports, like 2 sturdy posts, at either end of your garden bed. Then you stretch a specialised plastic net with large openings or several rows of durable twine between them. And that's your straightforward setup. The biggest advantage of this method is, without a doubt, the incredible space saving. Your cucumber vines stop behaving like unruly ground invaders sprawling everywhere. Instead, they grow disciplinedly upwards, reaching for the sun. Your garden bed takes up minimal space, while still delivering a maximum yield. This makes it an ideal solution for smaller gardens and, of course, for greenhouses, where every single inch is truly precious. But it's not just about saving space. Vines elevated above the ground benefit from excellent air circulation. This prevents moisture from stagnating around the roots, significantly reducing the risk of fungal infections like powdery mildew. And harvesting, it's an absolute joy. All the cucumbers hang right there, in plain sight. They're clean, perfectly shaped, and free from dirt. No more bending over or sifting through dense foliage just to find a ripe one. As your plants grow, you simply gently guide the main stem upwards, either by carefully winding it around the twine or letting its natural tendrils grasp the netting. The plant will happily climb on its own, eager to reach the light. What you'll end up with isn't a chaotic sprawl, but rather a neat, productive green wall of cucumbers. This is a reliable and straightforward method that truly works for everyone. If you appreciate order and efficiency in your garden, then this is definitely the technique for you. Let's move on to the second method, horizontal training. Now that might sound a bit odd, given we're used to cucumbers growing upwards, but sometimes this approach proves surprisingly practical. Instead of picturing a skyscraper, imagine a long, single-story ranch house for your plants. So, how does it work? You'll still set up sturdy supports at each end of your garden bed, but instead of a single tall trellis, you'll string several rows of wire or twine between them, running parallel to the ground. The first row might be about 30 centimetres, roughly a foot, off the ground. The next 30-40 centimetres, 12 to 16 inches, above that, and so on, reaching a total height of about 1 to 1.5 metres, 3 to 5 feet. What's the rationale behind this? This method is perfect for long, but not necessarily very tall, greenhouses or garden beds. Your plant grows up to the first story, and then its vines are carefully trained along that row. If a vine gets too long, you can gently guide it back along the same row, or even loop it over to the next level. The main advantage of horizontal training is that all the fruits develop at roughly the same height. This makes tending and harvesting incredibly convenient. You won't need to stretch upwards or stoop down to the ground. All your cucumbers will be right there in one easily accessible zone. Furthermore, this method gives you much better control over plant density. You get to strategically spread the vines across their floors, preventing them from becoming a tangled mess. This ensures each vine gets its fair share of light and air. While this method might not save as much horizontal space as vertical training, it offers excellent control over your plants and makes their care remarkably comfortable. If you have long garden beds and appreciate having everything easily accessible, this option is definitely worth considering. For the true gardening aesthetes and perfectionists out there, here's method number 3, the V-shaped or A-shaped trellis. Some simply call it the TP method, and that name perfectly captures its essence. So, what exactly is it? Imagine 2 trellis nets or 2 rows of string supports set up not vertically, but at an angle to each other, converging at the top. This creates a structure resembling the letter A, or, when viewed from the side, a Latin V. Cucumbers are planted at the base of each slanted side and begin to climb upwards, growing towards each other. You might ask, why go through all this trouble? Well, therein lies the genius of this method. Firstly, this structure is incredibly stable. It can withstand even strong winds. Secondly, and most importantly, it creates ideal conditions for the plants themselves. Cucumber leaves spread out on the slanted plane, much like solar panels. This means they receive maximum sunlight throughout the day. At the same time, a protected space forms inside the TP. It's wonderfully ventilated, which prevents diseases, yet it provides a favourable, slightly shaded microclimate for the ripening fruit. The cucumbers hang inside, shielded from the scorching sun, growing perfectly straight and juicy. Harvesting is also incredibly convenient. All the fruit hangs downwards inside the structure. You simply peek into your green TP and collect them. Yes, building this type of support requires a bit more effort than a simple vertical trellis, but the results are absolutely worth it. You'll get not only an abundant harvest, but also a very beautiful, tidy and well thought out feature in your garden. And finally, we arrive at our 4th method. This isn't just simple staking. It's an entire strategy, an advanced technique for cucumber care. It's called single stem training, or the blinding method. While it might sound a bit intimidating, it's actually quite simple and incredibly effective. So, what's the core idea? Unlike previous methods where we simply offered support and let the plant grow as it pleased, here we take complete control. We decide exactly where the plant should direct its energy. How does this work in practice? The plant is staked to a vertical support, just like in our first method. But here's where it gets interesting. We meticulously examine the lower part of the main stem, roughly the first 50 centimetres from the ground. And, quite decisively, we prune away everything that emerges from the axils of each leaf. Lateral shoots, often called suckers, small flowers, and even tiny embryonic cucumbers. Yes, you heard that correctly. We remove those very first budding cucumbers. This process is precisely what's known as blinding. Why this seemingly harsh approach? Think of it like training an athlete. We're preventing the plant from wasting its energy at the very start. Instead of dedicating resources to a few early, often weak and misshapen fruits and growing unnecessary lateral shoots, the cucumber directs all its energy into developing a robust root system and forming a strong, healthy central stem. It's building up power for the main burst of production, and when that main stem finally reaches the top of the trellis, that's when we allow it to branch and fruit. The now powerful plant rewards us with an absolute explosion of harvest. The fruits appear in abundance. They're large, uniform, and wonderfully healthy. This method does require a bit more attention up front, but the results far exceed expectations. It's the ideal choice for anyone looking not just to grow cucumbers, but to achieve a truly spectacular yield. And this is where things get really interesting. Many people think that tying up plants is just about providing support to keep them from falling over. But in reality, it's a form of plant management. You're not just giving your cucumber plant something to lean on. You're becoming its personal trainer and agronomist. This becomes particularly clear when we look at the fourth method. By blinding the lower part of the stem, meaning removing all side shoots and early fruits up to about 1/2 metre, you solve 3 problems at once. Firstly, you create excellent air circulation around the root zone, which is where most diseases tend to originate. No excess foliage near the ground means drastically reduced disease risk. Secondly, you prevent the plant from wasting precious energy on those first, often weak and misshapen, cucumbers. Instead, all that energy is directed towards developing a strong root system and a sturdy central stem. It's like skipping fast food before a marathon. You're building up strength for the main push, and that's when the real growth spurt begins. Once the main stem reaches the top of your trellis, you allow it to grow freely, forming a cucumber canopy, and that's when the now fortified plant delivers an explosive harvest. You won't get a few small fruits, but an abundance of large, uniform, juicy and healthy cucumbers. This isn't just about tying up plants, it's a strategy for an abundant harvest. As you can see, choosing a cucumber trellising method isn't about following trends, it's about your specific goals. If you want simplicity and space saving, opt for a net trellis. If you have plenty of space and prefer a neat, orderly garden, the horizontal method might be for you. But if you're aiming for maximum yield from each plant and are willing to dedicate a little extra time to plant care, then the single stem training method will be your secret weapon. Thanks for watching this video all the way to the end. I hope that now your cucumbers will not only be delicious, but also the most beautiful in your entire garden. If you found this helpful, you know what to do. A like and a subscription will help our channel grow. Now for the big question, which method do you use? Perhaps you have your own secret 5th method. I look forward to hearing your stories and tips in the comments below. Let's share our experiences.